welcome. I'm delighted to introduce you today to our next WiP Wonder Woman, Ruby Jain. Welcome to the Women in Power platform, Ruby.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a pleasure. It's a super pleasure to meet you once again. So I don't know how many people would know this, but you've been a mentor to me from 2003. And it's an absolute pleasure to be coming and seeing you again on this platform.
Welcome. And let me tell our members that Ruby is the founder of Vyaparify Rubinus Private Limited, a company which is revolutionizing local businesses from tier 2-3 cities with digital and AI-powered solutions. I love the name, Vyaparify Rubinus Private Limited. Who formed that?
Ruby Jain. So the platform name is Vyaparify, ma'am. And there is no confusion about the name of the platform. Down in South also, Vyapar is very well understood. So ये तो obsession था that as a startup, I will not have too much money to create branding. How will I go and explain to businesses that, look, this is not a consumer-led solution. It is a solution for you as a Vyapar. The 22nd time, honestly, this was the 22nd attempt I made with Vyaparify Rubinus, and I danced in joy when it got approved. So yes.
I'm so glad it worked out for you. So Ruby, I have a question. I have been seeing that there's been a rise in the number of businesses which have happened. I mean, as I keep telling you, in the 10 years that I was away, I came back. There is a Nykaa, there is a Misho. There are so many which are coming in.
Yes.
I needed to ask you about Vyaparify. One, that what is the gap it's going to address, which is not there right now in the industry? And why do we need these businesses as well, while there are such MNC stores and everything else which is happening? What is the gap that this is addressing?
Very interesting observation, ma'am. And that is exactly the ambition. That's something that inspired me for Vyaparify. So I'll just take a little of time and tell you these platforms like the Misho, Amazon, Flipkart, Nykaa, all of these that you named.
Yes.
If you just ponder upon them, the power of these platforms is in the businesses who are actually the sellers on the platform, right? So when you go to an Amazon and you're shopping, what are you shopping for? You may be shopping for a pink kurta, or you're shopping for a white sari, or you're shopping. Who's providing is a Vyapari, right? And it is only sad. What started to trouble me was that the customer of today remembers the name of these marketplaces, but is forgetting the actual brand who's providing this product. So the product creator, the sari maker, the fashion designer is all, they're getting relegated. They're getting lost, ma'am. And the brand, what is coming in between the consumer and the actual creator is a marketplace. And the marketplace is earning both sides. And the marketplace is becoming a brand. Look, you also remembered the name of all these marketplaces, right? And who's suffering is that businessman who, from a businessman or a brand owner, has actually become a seller. And that actually was my inspiration, because I was seeing that my own businesses, all my family businesses, unknowingly are losing their customers. They're losing their brand. And there is nobody who's telling them that how they're actually suffering brand loss in the journey. So they take a lot of pride in saying, look, I'm now on Amazon. I'm also available on Flipkart. But little do they realize that the customer who's going to these marketplaces is not searching your name, is actually searching a product category.
Exactly.
Right? So they're getting defined by a product category and not by the brand name. That's why Vyaparify.
That's a great thing that you answered, because I do that on Amazon. That suddenly when you get answer to whatever you're looking for, say you're looking for bed linen, and you got something, and then I would go on that brand and their website to see that are they really good in that. So what you're helping actually is that guy who is
that
things, because a lot of people buy it from Amazon. My thing is, let's find out who are these guys.
That's so sweet, and I wish there were more customers like you. So India has got such encouraging statistics, ma'am. 800 million internet users. 800 million, right? One of the fastest rising, youngest economies with the payment network, with UPI, right? With the government backing it, the financial institutions backing it. Payments has become online real time. So India is a very consumer-led economy, and we are proud about it. The government, the regulator, the financial bodies, they're all trying to provide and ensure a safety net around this consumerism. But what is striking, and you'll fall off if I give you one statistic, 800 million online users, 65 million businesses, but
Mhm.
only 5% of them are actually online.
Oh my God, that's
Yes,
scary.
yes, yes. So the 800 million users, and over here, not even 20 million websites,
Mm.
not even, and 20 million is like way off. It's actually less than 15 million. So imagine the gap. So where are these consumers going? Because these businesses who are actually catering to the consumers of India are not online.
Wow.
So these consumers are going to the very platforms you were naming. And
Mm.
those platforms are not empowering these businesses to become a brand. The platforms are relegating the businesses further down. And this is the gap. This identity gap is what Vyaparify is trying to fill in. How important it is to have
Mm.
your business identity. How
Mm.
important it is. The
Mm.
owner must reflect, the business must come in Google. But
That's
if
true.
you were to go to Google and not find the business, you are never going to buy his product,
Correct. Okay.
right? And that identity, to enable them to make a nice powerful identity, to enable that identity to be locally discoverable on Google,
Mm.
and to enable conversational commerce, that's truly what Vyaparify is standing for. So without changing, and I stay with my parents and I always tell them, if you had not picked up MBA graduates and
Mm.
given us those 3 months of training, you wouldn't have, you aided transformation in a very simple way. In those 90 days, you transformed MBA graduates to actually become business executives, right? Vyaparify is trying to transform the physical merchants and SMEs to actually have their foundation in the digital realm. And we're trying to do it in a very simple, non-tech, automated way so that the Vyaparis are not disturbed. They should suddenly not feel that, look, they don't understand this world. And they get rattled without realizing. And that is when comes denial. Because human ego is such that when you can't solve for something, you just say, "Nahi, mujhe chahiye hi nahi." Even the grapes are sour. So without hurting their egos, we are trying to get them, we're trying to uplift them, we're trying to make them their own brand, something that they've forgotten in the journey. As consumers, we are so finicky as consumers, but as business people, we're not that finicky. So I'm trying to, Vyaparify is an attempt to solve this imbalance.
So tell me that after close to 20 years of corporate experience, and that too in the number one bank of the country, what
Yes.
propelled your journey towards starting this venture?
So, ma'am, pretty much everything about my journey, I think, was setting me up for Vyaparify. So, I had the luxury of starting my career. And again, thanks to you, you put me as a product manager and you convinced me that product manager is a great role to start my career with. And let me tell you how closer to Vyaparify I got. And COVID has a lot to do with it. And my last boss, he as a boss taught me to stay very close to the market. And the more closer I was understanding the merchant ecosystem, the more I realized the problem is a little larger than what just a bank can solve. The problem is also of the mindset. The problem is also of how these businesses are thinking about themselves, right?
Yes.
And that problem intrigued me. If I was not born to a business family, I wouldn't have seen the problems so closely back at home. My
Yeah.
younger sister is an entrepreneur. She's been an entrepreneur all her life, right? And I would come and validate my solutions with her. I
Mm.
realized that back my family, the issues that they faced were a little more larger. तो बोलती थी हाँ दीदी तुमने पेमेंट सॉल्व किया ग्रेट यू सॉल्व लेंडिंग ग्रेट बट माई प्रॉब्लम ऑल्सो इज कि गूगल में मेरी रैंक नहीं दिख रही my
Uh,
problem also is that website, I don't know what theme to put for my website. For all through my life, for 20 years, I had the safety net of a brand. I had the safety net. So anything that I touched, वो ना बोलते हैं आप सोना बन जाता था. Also
that's
because of the bank. Stepping back, I wasn't so sure कि हम सोना create कर पाएंगे कि नहीं. But the urge, the dreams were so strong. And that statement of yours, बच्चे you said it so well. Sapne bhulna mat. You said it, and yes. And I'm also lucky, family supported. Nikal to gaye, nikal gaye. Shuru kara Indore se. Things that from the corporate life, what were my strengths? Suddenly looked here that I had to step back and review my
yeah.
entire style of conversation. फिर मैम वो stage भी आई, and that thanks to the corporate world, I
Yeah.
had learned. Not everything can be my strength. So my first learning was that I had to unlearn the corporate world. My another learning was that I had to unlearn the style, the conversation style, the language. Uh, बहुत सीखा, ma'am. The first 3 months were quite a learning, quite a learning.
So tell me about what's your typical customers like. I know you have said these quotes are all about your favorite sweet shop and your favorite other people, because I'm very proud to say that some of the women who have moved out of corporate life, who are really been WonderWoman in the WiP platform, the Women in Power platform, a lot of them have moved into being in touch with the weavers of the country and started their saripreneurs. Some of them are into handicrafts from different places like Orissa and MP and UP, Bihar. I love the work they're doing, because when you have cold feet, leaving a very massive salary and a recognition of a title which goes into the outside world, and then you start to do that, and COVID really affected a lot of people. So I understand that, but tell me, what are the customers that you really enjoy doing, and what are the challenges in a tier 2, 3 city towns? Your insights, if you could briefly say that.
Absolutely. So my typical customer, and I'm very proud to say this, but a lot of my customers are women. So, when you start a business, I don't know if it is the experience that you've had with other women and other founders that you've interviewed. But in my case, I started a lot with my own family. Coming from a Jain community, ma'am, puri family and extended family, sub businessmen. So within my family, we have 70 plus businesses. And I said, look, how is it that I solve for a larger community without solving for my own family business? So my journey actually started, ma'am, with interviewing every businessman in my own family.
Great.
Right. So yes, and I was very impressed to see that most of my bhabis are entrepreneurs. My own sister, like I said, is an entrepreneur. My mother, who's 70, both my parents actually are helping Nidhi in her business. So a lot of, in fact, initially मुझे लगता था ऐसा क्यों है कि सभी को ही मुझे औरतें मिल रही हैं, मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता. But ma'am, my first 20 businesses that I onboarded or I interviewed and I started to solve for were all women.
Wow.
But all of them women, all of them, unlike me, they all had family pressures. So sabke bache, sabke saas sasur, and like in MP, joint family is a thing even today, right? They stay close to their parents. Most of the times they stay with their parents, but if the parents are, let's say, in tier 3, then the son and the daughter-in-law are in tier 2, but they will go every alternate weekends because they'll take care of the parents.
Yeah.
So मेरे जो मेरे favorites है, वो bias है. My family is my favorite, and they've been through the journey with me. So every time that Vyaparify, we did some pilots, they were my favorite guinea pigs. But man, as we grew to the first 100, and in the first month we got our first 200 clients, and all the 200 of them were non-family, non-Jainis. So yes, we were very lucky. So Jagu Bazaar, if anybody is from Calcutta, people will relate to the Jagu Bazaar or to the Dadar of Bombay, right? In Bombay, I've had a luxurious life, so I've really not had to go shopping too much. But back at home, back in Calcutta, we would go Jola leke na Sabzi Bazaar. केक लाना है तो आप गिफ्ट सेंटर जाते थे. किसी फ्रेंड का बर्थडे है, आप आर्चीज जाते थे. They are the kind of people I'm going to. So I'm going to people who say I'm men's fashion wear. I'm going to women who have reinstated careers. दुकानें खोल ली हैं, beauty parlors चला रही हैं. I'm going to people who are tattoo artists. I'm going to people who are Maheshwari. And I particularly, because I wear saris, Maheshwar was one of my most favorite trips, and I've taken that trip 3 times over. I went to the weavers, right? I did not want to get discriminated to just one business class. And hence I was very conscious that I want to meet in a particular lane. So Bengali karke ek lane hai Indore mein. And I selected that lane. Again, fascination है बंगाल का. So बंगाली जब सुना, मैंने बोला यही लेन से शुरू करना है. वो लेन में गए, वो लेन की सब दुकानों को देखा. Very, very beautiful stores, simple दुकानें. I don't even know, Rakhangi in Worli is a premium store.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine the lower version of Rakhangi, those are the kind of stores that I've gone to. And those are the real life people and the real life heroes I'm trying to solve for. जो अपनी दुकानें,
next generation's doing better. I mean, because I'll be very honest. Some of
yes,
schools who called me for some of the road shows we wanted to do to understand how younger people are thinking now in India. And they would be MBA schools with 800,000 people. I went and talked to it. And we're talking about the future of employment and how what should be they looking.
Yes.
I think after an hour's presentation, first of all, when you were on the second slide, you saw this confused look on people's face, as you rightfully said. And the principal was from Kerala, and he said, "Ma'am, would you mind speaking in Hindi?"
Hindi.
He says, although our entire thing is in English, do you mind? I said, no, I speak fluent Hindi. But yes, the previous night I had Googled about what do you call talent, leadership, everything. I didn't actually know. I'm very honest. I mean, I speak
Yes.
Hindi, but certain words it was
You
important.
don't know him, yes.
Yeah, and the placement officers themselves didn't understand certain things. So when I saw the state of that, I don't know where they would place the people. But the students had very high aspirations. They didn't want to do ordinary jobs. They wanted to go to Gurgaon and Bangalore. They knew where they wanted to go, but they didn't
Yes.
know the kind of jobs they will do. It was in Hindi. There were only two questions. Most of the people said, we want to join the family business. I mean, my thing was, okay, if they're MBAs and they're joining the family business, maybe the so-called chota version of Rakhangi would start looking up.
Yes.
Is that what you're experiencing?
Yes, I'm also experiencing it. In fact, I'm experiencing it even in Pune. So the one of my favorite businesses is the Chakan Oil Depot. They make wood pressed oil. Man, they pride themselves in saying that we've been here since 1948.
Wow.
Since 1948, the third generation business, you must meet the owner, a charmer. He speaks fluent Hindi, he speaks fluent English, he speaks fluent Marathi. And he said, "Ma'am, मैं अपना business क्यों बंद करूं when I know I can take it to Dubai?"
Yeah.
Right? And this year they have actually started exporting. So that's Pune. And Pune is also it's a great tier two, tier three combination. It has the influence of Bombay, but we both know it is very close to
Yes.
what a tier two would look like. Maheshwar, which is a proper tier three today, in a particular lane. So man, एक ही lane है वहाँ पे. उस lane में about 15 to 18 साड़ी की दुकानें हैं.
Wow.
4 of them are doing beautifully well, but a couple of them are shutting down. The ones who are doing very well do actually have the younger generation who has joined them.
Yeah.
And the ones who are shutting down because the younger generation doesn't want to join them. So I don't know whether I'm so researched yet, because I still have a long way to go. But I'm definitely seeing that this urge to join family business, I also sense is going higher. And it is the younger generation who's also understanding when my boys are going and pitching Vyaparify.
Yes.
Right? So it's beautiful to see that India mein ek zamana tha. Like I said, there was a point in time, right, when we all wanted corporate jobs. Now I see, especially in tier 2 and tier 3, I see they like to maintain relationships. उनको अच्छा लगता है अपना घर टाइम पे जाओ, अपने बच्चों के लिए खाना बनाओ. I have so many people in my Indore office, man, and most of the men cook, and they take pride in saying, and अच्छा मुझे खाना बनाना नहीं आता, but ma'am, I love the way the men over there are recognizing their duties. The men are recognizing duties. उनको खाना बनाना अच्छा लगता है, वो अपने बच्चों को खाना खिलाते हैं, और 7 बजे उनको घर जाना है. So the life balance is good. Yes, as a professional, I sometimes think, yeah, they're too slow. Professionalism शायद थोड़ा कम है. But as human beings, they're fantastic people to be with. And they also teach me, आपने अपनी मम्मी को फोन नहीं किया आज. So there are times that I am told, you can't forget life, Ruby, for work. And that's what tier 2 and tier 3 teaches you. Absolutely, absolutely teaches you that life is a little beyond work. Personally, maybe I'm ambitious, and
No, you just said it. You said it. We summed it very nicely. They remind you to slow down a little bit and smell the roses.
They do, man. They do. अगर आपने खाना फटाफट खा लिया 10 मिनट में, then they tell you did not cherish the food.
Actually, that is something. The first thing they remind you. I mean, oh my God, we always eat so fast, as if you're wasting time in eating.
So the tier 2 and tier 3 is definitely humbling. Definitely humbling. The kids there, I see the ambition, I see the talent.
Yes.
And I see they know the talent. They're quite happy and content where they are. They recognize talent, but they also want balance. Right? They're not in the rat race of sorts.
And
So
I'm
that's why
encouraged
it's
by
the
the
same.
women in those towns because I really feel that they have come out of the fact that you just want to get married and have babies. They want to
Yes.
do something. And that really gives me hope for, the India of the future because these girls, they definitely say we want to come out. Some of them say that, I wish our parents were like you and thinking us just getting educated and moving, etc. But I'm very enthused with what I'm seeing at least in these towns.
And
So
you're so right in your observation. You're so right. And I see it, and I see it. So this mother-daughter duo, one of my Vyaparis, I went to a store which was like a mini version of Nykaa, so a multi-brand store. And multi-brands, mind you, I didn't know most of the brands. So they were definitely the local brands.
mm,
This lady, she inspired me because she said मेरी बेटी MBA कर रही है. But
mm,
मुझे पता है कि मुझे उसको सिखाना है that real life is not just academics but academics and experience. तो मैंने ये दुकान अपनी बेटी के लिए खोली है.
wow.
मैंने शुरू करी है after 22 years. I think
Mm,
the lady has stepped out of home. She set up this store for her daughter, and the
mm.
daughter joined her at 5 o'clock, and the daughter signed us within 10 minutes because she said, "No, ma'am, we need this." So the solution appealed to the daughter, but I was so inspired with what the mother was doing for the daughter.
Ruby, before we go, what's your success mantra?
I think never give up. I saw in your wall, I saw the I can and I will. And I said, that's so true. People say I smile a lot. People say I'm usually very happy. I just don't give up. I just don't give up. I learned from you and I must credit you with this. In the corporate world, you taught me to be unapologetic about being a dreamer. And that's one of the mantras I go with.
Thank you. So I must tell everyone that at the core, Ruby Jain's Vyaparify is more than just a digital platform. It's an agent of change, and that's what I've seen. And it is using all the digital tools and all the community of Vyaparis to not just participates in India's growth story, but it's actively writing the chapters of success and innovation, as she has been constantly reminding us throughout the interview. So I'm so glad we could have you, Ruby, here for a chat. And I promise you we'll keep getting you back and collaborate on other things that
Thank you.
I can see during the interview that we have in common. And we hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for this encouragement. And I must tell the audience one more thing. You're my lucky charm. You got me 20 years of great career when you got me into HDFC Bank. So Vyaparify is set to rise after this interview for sure.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, I'm Ruby Jain. I'm the founder of Vyaparify. Vyaparify has only one mantra to make every businessman a successful brand in the new digital world. Digital व्यापार बड़ा व्यापार जो दिखेगा वो बिकेगा. हम आपकी डिजिटल आइडेंटिटी बनाते हैं, हम आपको उसमें गूगल डिस्कवरेबिलिटी देते हैं, and we enable you to have commerce. If anybody is interested in the platform, please feel free to contact us.